Hey everyone, something that I've been looking into this week is the Kubernetes service catalog, and this is a project that's in incubation. And basically, the goal is to bring integration of service brokers that speak the Open Service Broker API and provide a service catalog for the Kubernetes ecosystem. Now, if you haven't heard of the service catalog before, basically it's a way to enable developers on certain platforms to request and consume services that are managed by someone else. So the developer only needs to worry about building their application and doesn't have to worry about where a service is provisioned and how it's managed and how it's maintained. They just need to focus on their application code. So to try this out, I wrote my own broker that follows the Open Service Broker API. And this basically just provisions instances of MariaDB using Helm charts. So to try this out, all you need is a Kubernetes cluster, and I'm using Minikube. You need to have an installation of Helm and its server-side component tiller. And the other thing I have set up is the Service Catalog API. And if you want to learn how to set it up, I'd suggest you follow the walkthrough. This is in the Service Catalog repo, and it's a really great way to just get up to speed and get your environment configured, and also just learn about the concepts of the Service Catalog. So I go into my terminal here. So again, I'm going to show you, if I run Helm list here, I have the Service Catalog chart deployed. Again, you can find this in the Service Catalog repository and you can deploy it that way. So the first thing I'm going to go and deploy is my MariaDB broker. So to do this, I'm going to run helm install charts MariaDB broker. I'm going to put this in its own namespace called MariaDB broker, and I'm going to name the Helm release MariaDB broker as well. And now while that's starting up, I'm going to query the Service Catalog API here. And you can see that there are no brokers registered. So the first thing we need to do once we have a broker is to register that with the Service Catalog so that the services show up in the catalog. So to do this, I'm going to, in this repository, I have an example of a broker, and we have to use the Service Catalog API here. So now that that's gone and created the broker, we should see that the Service Catalog controller has requested the list of plans from the broker and has created service class objects or entities to represent these plans. So if we do get service classes, we'll see that I have a MariaDB service class here. So if we take a look at the broker that I just created, we can see what this looks like. It basically is just pointing to the broker server, which is this is the internal address for that broker. Now this could easily point to an external service hosted outside of my cluster, but for this example, this is running inside my cluster. So the next thing we're going to do is go and provision a MariaDB database. So to do this, all we need to do is create an instance resource. And this basically tells the Service Catalog controller to go and contact the broker to provision the plan that we want. So if we take a look at what that looks like, you can see here it's basically just pointing to the service class, the MariaDB service class, and saying that it wants a default plan. For this broker, there is only the default plan, so that's all we're going to use. So we'll go ahead and create this resource. And now, if this has been created properly, we should be able to run, we should be able to see the status gets updated here, and it says the instance was provisioned successfully. So as I said, the MariaDB broker creates Helm charts for each instance that gets provisioned. So we should see a new Helm chart get deployed. So if I run Helm list, and I'll just make this bigger here. So as you can see, I've created a new Helm chart here with this UUID, and this UUID matches what we see here as well in the instance resource. So each instance gets its own UID, and that maps to a Helm chart with that UID. So now, to actually be able to use my database instance, I need to get the connection information, the connection details, and the credentials for it. So to do this, I need to create a binding, and this basically allows me to bind an application to my new MariaDB instance. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. So binding here. So again, this is a very simple resource. It's basically just referencing the instance that we just created and giving a secret name where we want the service catalog controller to populate with the credential information. So if we go ahead and create this, again, we need to use the service catalog API. So now again, we can check the status on this. If I can type. And you get this condition saying injected bind result. So now we should be able to see a secret called MariaDB instance credentials. So let's take a look at our secrets. And as you can see, that secret has been created. And if we, if we just print it out here, you can see it has all these keys that relate to the the database details. So I can get the database name, the host, the password, the port, and the URI, and the username from this secret. So now to consume this, all I need is an application that reads in this information from this secret and connects to this database. So as I said, I'm using WordPress, and I have an example WordPress deployment in my repository. So we'll just go take a look at what that looks like. Oops. So as you can see here, in my WordPress deployment, I'm setting all these environment variables, and I'm pulling from the MariaDB instance credentials. So let's go ahead and create this. And now we'll just wait for this to get up and running. So once WordPress is running, I should be able to get the address for it using Minikube service list. And I can find WordPress over here. And there we go, I have my WordPress instance up and running. As you can see, it's created a Hello World blog post, so it's been able to successfully connect to my database. So there you go. Be sure to check out the service catalog. Again, it's in the Kubernetes incubator repository. And if you want to get involved or learn more about it, there's the special interest group, SIG service catalog, and you can get involved on the Kubernetes Slack via the SIG service catalog channel. There's a mailing list for it, and they also meet regularly Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So be sure to check this out, and thank you for watching.